Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to today's webinar, How to Add AI to SAP SuccessFactors Recruiting, hosted by SAP Insider and presented by SAP, Eightfold, and Micron Technology. I'm Matthew Shea from SAP Insider, and I'll be your moderator today. We have just a few announcements before we begin. This webinar is designed to be interactive between you and the presenters. Later in the program, we'll ask for your feedback. You can participate in the Q&A session by asking questions about the information presented in this webinar at any time. Just type your question into the Q&A box located below the speaker's bio on the left, then click the Submit button. We'll answer as many questions as time permits after the presentation. Slides will advance automatically throughout the event. You can download a PDF copy of the presentation by clicking on the resources in the bottom right of the console. At this time, we recommend you disable your pop-up blockers. If you are experiencing any technical problems, please visit our webinar help guide by clicking on the help question mark icon in the bottom right of the console. If slides are not advancing, please press the F5 key on your keyboard to refresh your console. Now onto the presentation, How to Add AI to SAP SuccessFactors Recruiting. Discussing today's topic will be Daryl Gray, Senior Vice President, SAP App Center, Steve Fayer, Director of Product Marketing at Eightfold, Tom Banton, VP Sales Engineering and Enablement at Eightfold, and Michelle Brooks, Director of Talent Acquisition at Micron Technology. All right, now I'm kicking it over to Daryl to start the presentation.
Matthew, thanks very much, and appreciate the audience's time and attention today. I appreciate SAP Insider hosting this webinar for us. As Matthew stated, this is Daryl Gray. I'm the Global Vice President of the SAP App Center. I run our business development and sales for the SAP App Center. And SAP App Center is the one and only digital marketplace for our partner innovations, like you'll see with Eightfold, who will be presenting with us today. This marketplace is a place where our customers come to discover, try, and ultimately buy over 1,800 SAP trusted solutions from over 1,000 SAP partners. To date, we've had over thousands of customer interactions with these SAP certified or validated solutions to solve key business challenges in a trusted manner while extending and enhancing your SAP investment. It's my pleasure today to welcome one of our key SuccessFactors partners, Eightfold, who will showcase for you today their AI-powered recruitment solution that complements SAP's SuccessFactors solution for their customer, Micron, who is a leading provider of advanced semiconductor solutions. Eightfold ultimately it takes your talent acquisition to another level to hire the best talent quicker and at a lower cost. And today, we'll learn from the three experts on the phone how they do that for one of our joint customers, Micron. Today, we have with us Steve Fayer, who is the Director of Product Marketing. He's going to kick it off for us from Eightfold. Tom Banton will then show us a demo of how the Eightfold talent acquisition solution works, and he is the VP of Sales Engineering and Enablement for Eightfold. And then finally, we'll hear from our joint customer, Michelle Brooks. She's the Director of Talent Acquisition for Micron Technology, and she'll share a little bit about her vision of how Micron intends to take talent acquisition to another level with this trusted, certified solution from Eightfold found on the SAP App Center. So with that, I'm going to turn that over to Steve. Steve, take it away.
All right, Daryl. Well, thank you very much for the introduction. I want to start by giving just a little bit of an introduction about how the deep learning artificial intelligence technology that Eightfold is providing can help companies address their critical talent and recruiting challenges with SAP SuccessFactors Recruiting and the Eightfold AI together. I'm going to skip ahead here and talk a little bit about how this AI works. So what you see here on the left side is the enterprise data that we're able to gather into our deep learning artificial intelligence technology. We have data on hundreds of millions of career paths. That means we're able to understand how people's careers progress for virtually any kind of job, virtually everywhere in the world. And because we integrate with SAP SuccessFactors, we are able to gather even more information than is available from something like a resume. not only the jobs that people have taken and what they have done in those jobs, but also the screening results and the interview results that are recorded in SAP SuccessFactors. All of this information combines together to provide very accurate predictions about people's career progression. We're able to combine this information with statistics and context and other information from public data sources, some examples of which are represented on the right side of this slide. Altogether, our artificial intelligence knows about more than 1 million skills, more than 500,000 job titles, more than 100,000 companies, and virtually every educational institution in the world, more than 22,000 of them. And it knows all of the relationships among all of this data, while remaining anonymous and compliant with privacy rules. Our deep learning then takes this data to understand career paths. It works at scale to match people with the opportunities that make sense for them and shows exactly why a person and an opportunity are a match. And that's why our technology is able to be such a powerful addition to SAP SuccessFactors. These technologies together offer fundamentally new recruiting capabilities to companies. First of all, our artificial intelligence is able to automate a very large amount of the screening effort at scale, so that you are now no longer limited by your ability to review resumes or use keywords to search resumes. Instead, you can accurately consider every single person for every single position. The artificial intelligence enriches and updates all of the profiles that exist in your SAP SuccessFactors solution, which unlocks the prior candidates that are there to recruit them for every position. For many job openings, our customers tell us that their pipelines are instantly full as soon as they open the requisition in eightfold. There is no further sourcing required. Because our artificial intelligence understands career paths, it's not just looking to match a job title or a keyword. Instead, it knows what job a person is likely to take next in their career and which people are most likely to be successful in a job, even if their credentials mean that they would not normally be found with something like a keyword search. So this means we're able to find the high-quality candidates who are highly motivated by the job available, and we're able to provide the non-traditional talent who are also going to be very strong fits to a job. Finally here, our artificial intelligence uses a methodology called equal opportunity algorithms, which is a proven technique to ensure that the AI does not consider race, gender, or age in any recommendation. I want to repeat that. We are never considering any personal characteristic, only the characteristics that predict career success. We are doing this to prevent bias throughout the hiring process. So all of this is the next generation of talent technology for speed, efficiency, and best practices for your company. Now, before moving on to the demonstration, because I know you'd like to see it, I'd like to help you understand very briefly how you can calculate the value of what this type of technology can provide for your business. So here is a very quick one-slide business case for this type of deep learning artificial intelligence. First of all, one major benefit is recruiter time savings from the automatic screening and sourcing process. Our customers report to us that their recruiters are, on median, about 50% more efficient. That means that if a recruiter previously spent 40 hours of their time working to fill a single role, once Eightfold is implemented, that average drops to 20 hours, 50% less. Some of our customers report even more efficiency than this, and the 50% calculation is a median across the customers we've spoken to. So that means each recruiter can handle more, or recruiters can spend more time doing some of the high-value sales activities to convince candidates to join. The value of this is the value of the hour saved and the cost of the business of each hour of recruiter's time. For a billion-dollar revenue company, this savings is going to be on the order of a few $1 million per year. It's a substantial benefit. Another benefit that your business can see is faster time to fill. This exists because each of these roles is filled faster because of the automation. So that means the role is open for less time, and the value of having a person in that role is realized sooner. the chair is filled sooner. This means that you have salespeople selling, or more engineers inventing, or more cashiers checking people out, more line workers on your production line. Whatever it is that your business does, you're going to cut the time to fill each role by about 1/3 overall. Eightfold customers report quite consistently that their time to fill is something in the order of 30 to 40% faster. 35% is, again, the median. So to calculate the savings that this attributes to your business, consider what each person in a role produces in a day, and then calculate the number of extra days you have with people in those roles. The value we see, again, for a typical billion-dollar revenue company would be several $million a year in added value. Again, a substantial benefit from adding this deep learning AI to SAP SuccessFactors. Another benefit that our customers talk about to us is reduced use of point solutions. And often our customers tell us that they had brought in a lot of point solutions to do specific tasks like sourcing from additional places, or to handle a piece of screening, or for candidate engagement. Often there are many different tools that you have brought in. But once they have Eightfold and SAP SuccessFactors together, they have platforms that solve for all of their needs, so they can remove a lot of the point solutions. And the savings from that reduced spending come back to the business. According to a survey we did of customers, each of the customers reported turning off between 3 and 5 point solutions within 6 months of going live. So the savings are whatever the cost would have been to those solutions. Finally, there are the long-term benefits to your company and culture. And these may not be measured in dollars and cents in the same way as these other benefits, but that certainly does not mean that they are unimportant. In fact, I have customers telling me that these types of benefits, such as increased diversity and improving the employer brand, are the most valuable outcomes they're achieving. The prevention of bias is leading to increased diversity hiring. One customer using both SAP SuccessFactors Recruiting and Eightfold has reported that the solution has increased their female hiring by 19%, which is a dramatic benefit to the business. Furthermore, multiple customers report to us that the candidates at the time of hire are ranked as more highly qualified coming through Eightfold. Finally, your employer brand is enhanced by a better candidate experience, faster responses, more relevant responses, more relevant candidate experience, all of which improve your employer brand because the candidates will say nicer things about you. So this very briefly is the business case in 5 minutes. Of course, you'll want to dig in much deeper and determine how this applies to your own situation. But now I'd like to turn the conversation over to my colleague, Tom Banton, who's going to give you a demonstration of just a few of these key capabilities so you can see how Eightfold AI is delivering with SAP SuccessFactors Recruiting. So Tom, good morning.
Good morning, Stephen. How are you?
Well, I'm wonderful. Always great to be on a webinar with you.
Okay, so I am sharing my screen. Are you seeing it?
We sure are. We do.
So I have logged into Eightfold from inside SuccessFactors. I'm a recruiter at Micron, and I have 3 positions that I'm working today. One of them is going to be this automation engineer, and I'm going to open that up. The position's 4 days old. It came from a SuccessFactors requisition. And right away, Eightfold has surfaced 11,000 candidates from my existing SuccessFactors ATS. That may seem like a large number, but when you're a company like Micron and you're getting 100,000 applicants a year, that's actually not that large number. But as a recruiter, I'm like, okay, that's a lot of people I need to look at. Let's use AI to help narrow down this list of candidates. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually apply an AI filter called Strong Career Growth. And what we're doing is we're looking at people like Frank here, who are essentially ahead of the curve in that, it only took Frank 7 years to reach a staff test engineer while his peers took 14 years. That's very difficult to determine just by looking at a CV or a resume. And, so it's a great piece of advantage for a recruiter to be able to see that data. But we're going to do more for each profile. I'm going to expand Frank's profile here. And Frank may have applied at Micron, 4 or 5 years ago, but we're going to use AI to go to the web and actually update what Frank has done for the last 4 to 5 years. So it's like everybody in your SuccessFactors ATS applied today. There's no stale data. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to use AI, and for this, the automation job we're looking at, we've actually looked at Frank's skills, and we can say, hey, these are the skills that we can validate. So in other words, Frank says he knows automation, and we can validate that people at Broadcom and Apple, where Frank has worked, also know these skills. We also have likely skills. Frank said he didn't know this. It's a requirement on the job, but we can infer that Frank probably knows this based off of what other people at Broadcom have done. A great example of this is no salesperson says that they know power. Skills to validate. Frank says he does this. He knows problem solving. We can't look through and find out where he may have learned this. But it doesn't mean he doesn't know it. It's just something that we may want to validate. And then missing skills altogether. These are skills that are required on the job, and we can't infer them, and it's not on his resume. So the great thing is he's still a good match for this job, but at least I know where to start asking my questions if I move forward with Frank. Another thing here is I'm a recruiting administrator. I can see all of the data here, but I can make it so that my hiring managers and other people look at people in a masked profile. And companies have the ability to mask the data that they want to. Commonly will mask names, pictures, age, gender, but a lot of times there's bias on schools, so we may even mask things like education. Going back to recruiting for my engineer job here, I can apply another filter. I mean, I took it from 11,000 to 700, but I also want to look at people who are likely to respond. We're using AI, and on a micro level, we're building a profile for every single person that's in Eightfold and SuccessFactors, and we're predicting when they are likely to make their next job move. On a macro level, we're looking at people who work for Mayfield Robotics or Harman International, and we're determining when they might be likely to move. We're also using public data and figuring out if companies are having layoffs or mergers. And I use this tool internally to hire for Eightfold, and this is exactly how I do it. I want to reach out to the people who are likely to respond. I'm getting a much better response rate. I'm down to 104 candidates. Well, and again, in my case, my team is mostly men. I'd like to actually hire more women for the team. And so now with just a few, we're using AI to infer diversity if we can't automatically determine it based off of name. But at the time now, we've just went from, 11,000 candidates to 28, and these are the candidates that I want to work with. So Srishi here, I'm going to actually encourage them to apply, and I'm going to send her an invitation to apply. Rashida here, I'm going to actually see if I can just schedule them for an interview. And then, Isha here, I'm going to actually send them to my hiring manager for review. And I could have done any of this in bulk or in mass. But very quickly, we surfaced 11,000 candidates for this automation engineer. We've contacted them. On their side, this is the note that they're going to get. Hey, Srishi, I work at Micron. I'm impressed. And we're going to send them this nice invitation. They can click view job description, and we're now going to tell them why they're a strong match for the job. We have, matching skills, why they're a strong match, job insights, and other similar jobs. And similarly, I can, have a very easy profile back for my hiring manager to give feedback on this, or right from Eightfold, I can even schedule things like follow-up calls or interviews. Now I think, I've given you a taste of what we can do here. I'd like to actually pass it back to Michelle Burks, the Director of Talent Acquisition at Micron, to talk a little bit more about Micron Technologies. Michelle?
It's my pleasure to join the webinar and talk about our journey with Eightfold. A quick summary of Micron is that we are headquartered in Boise, Idaho. We have more than 34,000 team members in 18 different countries. We are the 4th largest semiconductor company in the world. As you can see by these numbers, Micron has had a lot to be proud of throughout our 40 years. As a manufacturer of memory solutions, we are a key enabler of AI technology. So of course, we look for business solutions that incorporate AI into their solutions as well. We want to win the talent war. I think we all do. We all probably on this webinar have that in common. And I'm sure we also have in common that people are our #1 asset. Due to the tech talent shortage coupled with historically low unemployment rates, we have an increasing complex challenge to find top talent at Micron. In addition, we want to raise the bar for hiring. So how this journey started, basically, is that we had recruiters, my recruiters, struggling to review and screen all of the candidates applying to the company. We find, as I'm sure you do, that many candidates will apply to jobs even if they do not have the minimum criteria identified in the description. We partnered with our IT department who developed an AI tool that we called Starfinder, which uses a machine learning module to score applicants for us. This was an experiment for our IT department with the main objective being to utilize AR in our manufacturing process, but there was not going to be any ongoing updates and support. So basically we got a teaser of it, but it wasn't necessarily sustainable. So I was on the lookout for a new tool. As a leader, I want to make the job of my recruiting team easier. As a tech company, we run lean due to volatility and typically have high rec loads or low rec loads, but not a lot of in between. Many times we can't add headcount, so we have to focus on being more efficient. We also have to be agile because change is the only constant in our environment. I found that there is too many tech tools in the TA function. It can be very overwhelming. I didn't want my recruiters to have to become familiar with numerous platforms. It's just not efficient. I sought out options, the right solution, and then we used the SAP App Center to ensure we were considering those that are partners for ease of integration. No consolidation of tools is cumbersome for the recruiters. Numerous logins and tools that don't work in unison could create an overall negative experience for both the recruiters and the candidates. We want to execute our talent acquisition strategy by building our employer brand, using Eightfold's communication tools that enables us to target the right candidates with the right and timely communication, as Tom just demonstrated, to enable a better and more personal candidate experience. We also, it's extremely important for us to hire top diverse talent into the company. This is top of mind for all my recruiters, is to not only get top talent, but top diverse talent to balance out the demographics at the company to create the optimum workforce. So why did we land on Eightfold? A single AI solution with multiple capabilities is the answer to that question. As I spoke of before, I wanted a tool that could solve multiple challenges. So we chose Eightfold Talent Acquisition for hiring efficiency and higher candidate quality. One of the biggest challenges we faced was to try to source from our own SuccessFactors database. It was frustrating to have all these candidates at our fingertips, but information outdates very quickly, and searching isn't smart to understand the skills, qualifications of what candidates would be best suited for what roles. We chose Eightfold Talent Diversity for increased hiring of diverse candidates. As I mentioned before, Eightfold highlights candidates who are members of diverse classes, or there is a clear indication that they are a member of a diverse class. This provides a diverse slate to shortlist for hiring managers. Also, it integrates with SAP SuccessFactors Recruiting. This allows us to take advantage of our existing database of candidates, as mentioned before, versus expensive sourcing firms or utilizing agencies. So what are the AI expected benefits for recruiters and the business? Let's discuss a couple of these in more detail. We want to decrease time spent to source and screen for the best fit candidates. I think you saw those impressive statistics that Steve presented earlier. Eightfold does the sourcing work for you and ranks candidates. This will save a lot of time on the front end, as sourcing really is our biggest time suck. Also, a reduced time to fill. In most cases, we find better, more qualified candidates than recruiters in less time. Automatically update and enrich past candidates in SAP SuccessFactors Recruiting. Candidates get stale fast, as we all know. Specifically, we have a lot of candidates that are within the millennial generation, and they change jobs more frequently than previous generations. This also helps us leverage several silver medal candidates, for example, that maybe now have that one skill or qualification that they might have been missing in the past. It also raises credibility of the TA function with the business. It helps us ask the right questions and make the most of our intake meetings with our hiring managers. We can show them real time the candidate pools so that they can see if the requirements might be restricting the pool too much and understand the market so their expectations are level set. So in conclusion, we are excited about this journey that we are on with Eightfold, and I'll go ahead and pass it over to, I think, Matthew for the audience Q&A.
Oh, hello. All right, so here we are for the audience Q&A. Just as a quick note, as we begin today's Q&A, please fill out the feedback form that is docked on the right-hand side of your computer. To complete the form, please press the Submit Answer button at the bottom of the survey. And thank you in advance for filling out the feedback form. So now, onto the question and answer portion of our event. As a reminder, to participate in the Q&A, just type your answer into the text box located below the speaker bios on the left, and then click the Submit Question button. All right, so our first question. All right, we have a number of questions here, so I'm just going to the beginning. So we have a question. How is this in line with global data privacy regulations? How is it ensured that the candidate is informed properly about the data usage?
So this is Tom. We are GDPR compliant and California Privacy Act compliant, and there are multiple ways the candidates can unsubscribe or actually be removed from the data permanently. We essentially match our privacy policy to every company's privacy policy. That's the short answer. If somebody would like a longer answer, they can reach out to Tom Banton at Eightfold.
Then also, how are you updating candidate data from the web if he or she doesn't agree to give you that data?
So we are actually using public data. So in the case of LinkedIn, that's one of the more common places we can go to. If somebody gives us their LinkedIn profile, and they have their profile set to share publicly, we can pull that data. If they have their profile set not to share, then we would not pull that data, but there are other data sources we can go to, Stack Overflow, GitHub, Twitter. There are multiple data sources, and we do say where the data is coming from, and we do say what candidates have been updated and not updated.
All right. And is the integration bidirectional or real-time for recruiters?
And so I answered that one online. The integration is bidirectional. It's already pre-set up with SuccessFactors. It can be real-time. The default is to pull the data from SuccessFactors into Eightfold on a batch basis, but that can be hourly or less. But every time there is an update in Eightfold, it is real-time synced back to SuccessFactors.
All right. How do you validate soft skills?
Again, we're looking at, we do a thing called skills threading and skills inference. So we have a relationship of soft skills to positions and soft skills to other skills. So there are people who say they have learned soft skills in certain positions, and then knowing one skill or type of skill can also lead to a soft skill. So there's a variety of AI and algorithms that goes behind that answer, but we can absolutely validate soft skills.
How do you handle candidates who are registered but not applied for any job?
Registered but not applied. I'm not sure I understand that question. So we do have a concept of a talent network. So somebody can actually say, hey, I'd like to join the Micron talent network. And even though they haven't applied for a job, when a job does come up that that candidate is a good match for, We're all about rediscovering talent. So even if someone's not applying to a job, they can join the talent network, and then we will surface them when there is a job that they are a good fit for. And if I did not answer your question, re-put it in the chat, or you can reach out to me again directly.
Great. Question from Jay. My experience says that a person's aptitude for quickly learning new skills is more critical than the specific skills they currently have. Is there any way your system can consider this?
So we actually do have skills like quick learner self-starters that are, self-motivated. So that's the ability to quickly learn new skills is a skill, and that actually is something we're tracking. And it kind of goes back to how are we validating soft skills. And again, we see how people's career trajectories go, so we can determine how quickly they are learning new skills and if they have that ability.
Can I add something to that answer?
Yes, please, Stephen.
Yes. Something that's really interesting about our skills approach is it can see which skills lead to which other skills, which our customers often find is very useful for certain engineering skills in particular. If, for example, there is a new programming language, and there are very few people who currently know that programming language, but the individuals who knew a certain prior set of skills in certain prior programming languages are very likely to be able to pick it up quickly, our technology will detect that relationship. Skill A means that skill B is very learnable. And therefore, if you need skill B, we will identify the people who could very quickly pick up that skill.
How can your solution source from LinkedIn?
So we have the ability to, again, update data from LinkedIn, but sourcing, we have a Chrome extension, so we do not pull candidates automatically from LinkedIn. I didn't show it in the demo because it was a very limited time, but we do have a Chrome extension where you can sit on a LinkedIn profile. We'll instantly evaluate that candidate across all of your open jobs that you're currently working with, and you can see on that sort of matching system that I showed earlier if they're a 1 to 5 star match before you even bring them into your SuccessFactors. And then if it's a candidate you're interested in, there's a single click to push them from LinkedIn into Eightfold and SuccessFactors, or contact them, or set them as an ideal candidate. And again, that's something I can show later on individually if somebody would like to see that.
And what are the prerequisites from SuccessFactors and to prep for a project like this?
We actually have a document that will explain how to set up the integration. We've done it multiple times. It's all set up. It's a larger question, but there really are no other than actual setup and getting the REST API to work. There's nothing special you have to do inside SuccessFactors.
Great. What types of tools do you expect will be either marginalized or eliminated as a result of Eightfold implementation?
We're seeing different results at different companies. Many times people are lessening their LinkedIn recruiter license. They're lessening some of their contact management solutions because we do that as well. Every company is having different results. The biggest thing that we actually see as well is the recruiters are spending more time building their network and contacting people and less time researching people. Again, we can have a larger conversation, and maybe Steve, if you want to follow up with that, you're welcome to.
Yeah, I agree with what you just said, Tom. Almost all of the customers I've spoken to have indicated turning off sourcing solutions or reducing their use of LinkedIn recruiter licenses. The other category that they commonly stop using are standalone contact enrichment or data enrichment tools because the profile updates are now automatic rather than manual.
And we definitely see a reduction in having to use outside sourcing or RPO companies as well.
Okay. All right, next question. To build the AI, do you need our data, or can it just use public data?
We definitely need your data. We're all about, as I said before, discovering talent. We want to take everybody that's ever applied at your company and update their data And then, that's people who've already expressed an interest in your company. So it's better to try and recruit from people who've already expressed an interest inside your company than always trying to go outside your talent network. Steve, I don't know if you want to add on to that.
No, I think that's perfect.
Is the resume the only reference for your machine learning algorithm to narrow down the list?
No, we consider much more data than the resume. That can be a starting point. Your SuccessFactors HR profiles can be a starting point, or your SuccessFactors candidate profiles. But then again, we'll enrich that with whatever public data we can find about that candidate. And then we're going to use all of our data. Again, we've ingested over 500 million resumes, and we've built a deep neural network of AI that understands how skills are related and how people move through their career. So we're taking that individual profile that we've created with that resume, enhancing it based off of AI, and then using our understanding of career trajectory and skills to try and predict that next person's job or what they're capable of. A great example is we were working with a large customer who needed 50 people to understand Hadoop developing, and they only had 25. They used our tool to find the next 25 people in their company that could learn Hadoop quickly. Kind of went off on a tangent there, but hopefully I answered the original question.
Right. For which countries and languages is this available?
So the key here is that our AI engine is language agnostic. We have multiple countries, available: Portuguese, Norwegian, Spanish, some Chinese. But again, you can actually upload resumes or LinkedIn profiles in any language, and we'll translate that to the skills, to the language of the person using it. The UI, if we do not have a language that's available, it takes us about 4 weeks to add new languages to the tool. So for every customer we're talking to, we're understanding their language requirements, and if we don't have the language available instantly, then it'll take us about 4 weeks to add it. And we can give you a published list of the languages we have.
Okay. If I could add to that just a little bit, Tom. We are currently working with customers on the 4 continents. They're using the technology to hire in more than 20 countries. Learning new languages quickly is a specialty of the platform.
So next one we've got, do you recommend jobs to candidates or just candidates to recruiters?
That's an excellent question. We do both. So if I'm a recruiter, I can look at a job and we'll stack rank the candidates against it, both internally and externally. If I'm an internal candidate in a company, I can use our internal mobility tool to look at the jobs posted, and we'll stack rank the jobs based on how well they fit the internal candidate. If I'm an external candidate coming into a SuccessFactors career site, we can add a layer of search on top of the SuccessFactors career site to surface the candidates, the positions for the external candidate, again, in order of best fit. So we can go candidate to job or job to candidate. Great question.
Good. Have the equal opportunity algorithms been reviewed and verified by the EEOC?
We say they are EEOC equal opportunity algorithms, and we are checking all of our own algorithms. Steve, I don't know if you have the exact answer of that, but I know we are checking our work. I don't know if we've used an outside source on that or not.
Yeah, the Equal Opportunity Employment Commission doesn't have a program to certify algorithms. We have reviewed the methodology with numerous experts, academicians, machine learning PhDs, and data science experts in the public and the private sector, and in the university sector as well, to ensure that we are doing something that is state of the art. So we're highly confident that this approach is able to provide unbiased recommendations. And typically with our customers, we will do a engineer level review to show them the results as well, so that they can also have that comfort.
I've got a question from Michelle here. How complicated/challenging was the Eightfold implementation compared with SuccessFactors Recruiting or SuccessFactors Employee Central?
Well, I wasn't at Micron when we implemented those things, so I can't really speak in comparison. But I can say that the process so far, because we're still in the middle of it, so far has gone extremely smoothly, and timeframes have met our expectations.
Fantastic. All right. What public data are you scrubbing?
Again, there's a long list of public data that we're scrubbing, but too many numerous sources to list on here. We've mentioned many of the sources already, but there are multiple things too that we're looking at: business journals, education journals. Steve, I don't know if you have a short answer for that question or not.
Yeah, you mentioned those, Tom. There are social networking sites where information is publicly available, statistical and ranking data. Think about things like U.S. Census data and other statistical databases that can be used publicly. Rankings, for example, imagine the recent U.S. News and World Report ranking for universities. Rankings like that are publicly available. We also use data sources that we can subscribe to. An example of this is company data from Crunchbase. So there are many kinds of sources that we're using, some of them to directly enrich profiles, others to provide statistical insight.
All right. For the data science model, what data are you feeding the AI? Is it tailored to us, or is it a general AI data science model that you apply to every client?
That's another great question. So if data science is new to you, then you can use our learning to understand what we think data science means, but we will use AI to look at your data science job description and tighter calibrate the job based on your requirements. And then there is an exercise that we go through for each position, especially when you're a new customer, where you actually do calibrate the job specifically to your requirements. The good news is once you've done that a couple times, we start to learn exactly what a data scientist means to you and you only, and I'll start auto-calibrating and saying, hey, this is what looks like something you've done before. Do you want to continue to use this same calibration? So there is a process for job requirements called calibration, and you get down to exactly what are your requirements for the job across multiple points: titles, skills, requirements, relevant years of experience, seniority, ideal candidates. Great question. But you can take advantage of what we know about the positions as a starting point, but we will totally tailor it toward your requirements.
Is it possible to pilot the solution?
There are some companies that are doing pilots. That's something that we'd have to discuss in the sales cycle.
Are chatbots also a part of the solution?
We do have a chatbot that's part of our career site that can sit on top of the SuccessFactors career site. And so the chatbot is really for external candidates to learn, to help apply to the site or to learn things about benefits. So right now we do have an external surfacing chatbot.
One quick note, the solution Tom is referring to sits on top of a career site builder. We can build that job discovery experience Tom discussed a few minutes ago, which includes a chatbot.
All right. How long does it take to implement the Eightfold solution?
The average implementation right now is about 3 months. It can be less. It really depends on, we have 4 modules in Eightfold. It depends on which of the 4 you're implementing or if you're doing all 4, but it's not a lengthy implementation. Really, the first step is ingesting the data, and we fine-tune the data, then we train you, and then we make sure you're getting the results you want. So, and we certainly have done it in less than 3 months as well.
All right, just got another question. Does it mean if a person does not have social media and other profiles like Stack Overflow, etc., they will not be considered by the system even though they have great professional experience?
No, I mean, as long as we have some basis of information, a past application, or that they're a current employee, we'll use the data that we have. I mean, we're using this tool in, high-volume blue-collar jobs where there's a minimum of data and social presence as well. We'll evaluate a person based on the data we have, and we're very good at unsurfacing and inferring data as well. They will be considered if they've got a great professional experience.
All right. Tom, I'm not sure if you answered this question, but how strong is Eightfold's candidate search for candidates outside the U.S.? We hire heavily across the EU and Asia, China, India, and Malaysia.
So we are a global company. We have customers in Europe. We have customers in Asia, in India. And again, as I put in the note, we study 500 million global resumes. So we're very strong globally.
Right. Do you believe this is a competitive weapon to attract and hire the best talent for your industry?
We believe so, especially if you've got a company that has a brand name and, or if somebody has a bad experience applying to your site, you don't get back to them in time, or they have to search through high volumes of jobs, that's one way that we can certainly help. Then also when you as an internal person are rediscovered, so we have an example with a company of one of our customers, they resurfaced somebody who applied 3 years ago. And that person was so impressed that they actually remembered them and knew that they'd learned new skills, that it was a positive experience for it, that the fact that you're rediscovering talent for people who've already expressed an interest in your company. And we are making it easier when people do apply for jobs, or when you reach out and send invitations to apply. We're helping people self-assess into your company rather than trying to self-assess out of your company. And Steve, again, you may have more on that.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that, Tom. And with the questioner's premise, heartily yes, this solution helps set you apart from your competitors who are going after the same talent, because you're providing more relevant communications, faster response to that candidate. You are pushing that candidate into the right job. Think about how often today candidates apply for the wrong job. We've seen data suggesting it's as many as half of all candidates apply for the wrong job. If you have Eightfold implemented, that isn't going to be an issue. Even if they did apply for the wrong job, they'll appear in the pipeline for the right job, and you can come back to that candidate right away. I saw you applied for a solutions engineering job, but I think you'd really make a great account executive. How would you like to be considered for this role instead? We think you're right for it for these reasons. You're going to be able to offer that kind of response, that kind of service. Your recruiters will have the time to offer that kind of service. This can really, really set you apart and to help you land the top candidates that you're competing for.
All right. Are there any kinds of reporting capabilities with this tool?
Yes, we have multiple dashboards, including diversity dashboards, how we're doing at hiring all of your diversity goals, whether your trends are up. You can look at those by position, by department, by recruiter. We also do analysis on employee referrals, on career site applications, days to hire. There's a lot of reporting that sits inside Eightfold that takes advantage of, again, the SuccessFactors data.
What if there is bias from your hiring managers in their past decision making? How do you handle this in the AI moving forward?
Well, again, we're stripping out, we're not making hiring decisions based off of your past hiring decisions, and you can remove diversity goals in your future, well, you can remove. You can mask profiles. So you can, if you mask profiles and people are evaluating candidates purely on their skills and experience, you can see if all of a sudden when a candidate comes in for a phone screening or an in-person screening, if a certain type of candidate starts to drop off, that data is visible and may actually expose a recruiter or hiring manager's practice. We're not making decisions based off of past decisions in the company instantly.
Okay, so we got time for one or two more questions. How does the active applicant ranking look and work? How are you scoring these candidates?
If I'm a recruiter looking at an applicant, we're scoring them on a 1 to 5 match. That's sort of those bubbles there. We're also scoring them on a % match to ideal candidates. You can load ideal candidates. So there's two factors we look at for a recruiter. If you're an outside candidate coming in, then we tell you if you are a strong match or a good match. And if there are no strong or good matches, then we actually say there are no jobs for you at this time. We don't get into the percentages with outside candidates, but once those candidates apply, the recruiters again now see the outside candidates on that 1 to 5 and percentage of ideal candidate.
Okay. How does the tool help assess cultural fit, such as competencies and values?
That's another larger question. Again, we're really looking at, we can have soft skills as requirements, and you may have soft skills that yield to culture. But we aren't actually doing a cultural fit as of right now. That can actually be kind of a slippery slope and actually start adding bias into your selection. We're happy to have a larger discussion. We get that question a lot. And ultimately, we need to drive that down to what are the requirements or what are you actually looking for in your employees and trying to make that the requirement.
If I could add something to that, Tom. Since what we're looking at with our matching technology is we're looking at really hard evidence, things that we know about the candidate, jobs that they've had, skills that we know that they possess. All of this will help you to select a slate of very strong potential candidates for the position. Once you have that slate of candidates, perhaps you would choose to do a culture fit assessment to get further insight on which of these strongly qualified candidates you may prefer for further reasons. That, in my view, would be a good additional way to further down select your candidates if that is part of your company's process and policy.
Then, how does the application work for candidates without resumes? This questioner has a significant number of applicants who do not have resumes.
We can create a talent we can add somebody to the talent community by giving an external job site profile like Indeed, Monster, or LinkedIn, or candidates can also just, if you're going a job fair or something like that, candidates can actually manually create a talent profile as well. But usually if you don't have a resume, you have a link to some type of career site. We can pull data from there.
All right. So that's all for the Q&A portion of today's presentation. If you did not get your question, someone will follow up with you in the next few business days. For the panel, do you have anything you'd like to add before I wrap things up?
Great questions, great activity. Thank you, everybody, for the interest in today's session. That's my final ad.
Absolutely. Thank you so much to Michelle Burks for joining us and sharing the Micron story today.
Yeah, thank you. We're excited about the possibilities and the capabilities this tool is going to provide to our team. So thank you.
Great. And I just want to thank all three of the speakers, Steve, Tom, Michelle, on behalf of the SAP App Center. You're a great partner. You're a great customer. We appreciate you sharing all the insights with the folks that joined us today. For those that have listened and will listen in the future. You can find Eightfold and other solutions that complement your SAP landscapes at sapappcenter.com, and we certainly thank you for your time and attention. And again, thanks so much to the speakers today.
Great. On behalf of SAP Insider and our guests, thanks for your time, everyone, and have a great day. Shortly after the live event, we will send you an email reminder to access this presentation on demand.